Hey everybody, what's going on? Good morning, good afternoon. Yeah, more like good afternoon. I'm here in Carpentersville, USA, Chicago, close to Chicago, Illinois. You know how it goes. Beautiful summer's day. Okay, so I wanted to talk about the genius inside of you called procrastination, right? How many of you have ideas that you want to create, have ideas that nobody around you has ever had, right? And you've always been very creative, yet you've never followed through on your ideas, right? All your friends who aren't as creative get a job, do their thing, you know, they get successful in their sense, right? And yet you, who have more potential, have ideas that nobody's dreamed about, don't get it done, you're barely surviving. And when you talk to your friends who aren't creative, who aren't, you know, pursuing that type of passion, but they're not only surviving, they're thriving, they refer to you as lazy. They say the problem with you is that you're just lazy. You're just lazy, you're a procrastinator, and you're just gonna never get it done, right? Well, guess what? I've been doing some reading, I've been doing some thinking, and I found out that in the end, your inner genius inside of you is actually your procrastination, okay? So I'm gonna give you 3 reasons why usually people procrastinate, okay? And then I'm gonna give you something, I'm gonna talk about something that we usually do when we are put to the test, when we have to do what we got to do, and yet we sit there and we BS, right? And hopefully this can help you. It's not going to give you the answer because, you know, life is a journey, but at least it gets you to start thinking, and that's what we want, okay? So say you have an idea for a novel, say you have an idea for an invention, say you have an idea for a song, right? And you can even apply this to not creative stuff, to your life, right? Say, you know, you're the type of person that stashes away your bills. You're the type of person that thinks that if I don't deal with my situation, problems are going to go away. If I ignore my problems, are going to go away. This could probably help you too on how to snap out of this procrastination. Okay, so number 1 reason why you procrastinate, why you don't follow through on either an idea or a task that you have to do. Number 1, it's not your passion. It's somebody else's idea. Okay, I know this sounds silly, but like say me, for example, I'm an eye doctor, right? I come from a family that has a lot of eye businesses, eye stores, opticals, and I was always promised, hey, you become an eye doctor, you will get your business, you'll be taken care of, right? But once I realized that, I don't want to be in bed with my family, you know, I don't want, and I didn't have a passion for that business, for that lifestyle, right? Then it made sense to me why it was always hard for me to follow through on all the little things that I had to do to get there, right? Then it made sense for me why it was such a challenge, why it was such a task, because it wasn't my idea, it wasn't my creative, child. It wasn't a reflection of my inner imagination, right? So very important that you find out that, hey, if the reason why you're procrastinating could be because what you're pursuing is not part aligned with your passion. You're just doing it out of obligation to other people, or because that's what the status quo is doing, or because that's what everybody else is doing, okay? So that's 1. Number 2, sometimes the timing is just not right. You know, you're in a point in your life and where you're busy, you don't have the resources, you don't have the time, right? You don't have the team around you, and so it comes to that point where, you don't have the resources, you don't have the team, and you're just not ready, or even mentally. You know what I mean? You have to have the right mindset. You have to have the stars have to be aligned. Unfortunately, many times the stars have to be aligned. You know how some people say you have to have your ducks in a row? And sometimes you have to do that. You have to have that. And if that doesn't happen, it's going to be really hard for you to make it happen. Okay? So that's completely normal. That sometimes timing is just not right. Or like me, I was in optometry school and I wanted to learn about real estate, right? And so I met a mentor who was going to teach me about it, but I was in school. I didn't have time to do the stuff that I had to do, right? I didn't have time to basically start a new career. And my mentor started jumping on my case and calling me lazy, calling me a bum, calling me unfocused. And then that was disrupting me in school because I felt like I was believing this guy because I really wanted to be where this guy was. But then at the same time, I wasn't focusing in school because I was thinking that I was neglecting on this. And you see, so it just complicates things. So sometimes it's all right for you to say, hey, you know what? The timing is not right now. I'm going to do this. But rather than do 2 things or 3 things half done, right, completely not right, let me just focus on 1 thing, okay? So that's the second thing. And then the third thing is that you're scared. You know, how many times have you wondered, like you see somebody, performing on stage, or you see somebody, giving a great lecture, and you just think like, oh, well, they were born for this, they made this, that's their destiny. I could never get there, because that's your fear speaking to you, right? And it's, what? Everybody is scared. Everybody. I bet you President Obama, when he's standing up there and he's giving his 150 million lecture in the White House, there's still a little tinge of fear in him. There's still a little bit of like, I wonder if they're going to challenge me. I wonder if they're going to hate me for this more or love me more. It's normal. Biology made fear for us so that we survive, evolutionarily speaking. All right, see, I'm this is so passionate that even the cats are getting all passionate about this. Okay, so that's the third thing. Okay, so now, usually what happens is this. Usually what happens is you finally do embrace your path. You finally do embrace, okay, I'm going to get started on this, right? And then now you're going through, you're following through, you're doing your thing, right? And then what happens is that you have the opportunity to work and you don't. Right? You don't do the work. You'd rather get on Facebook. You'd rather scrub the floor. You'd rather do anything but what your destiny is calling you out to do. Okay? And this, once again, is an evolutionary, pre-programmed thing that we have as humans. So it's completely normal. It's completely normal. For example, have you ever seen some orangutans, some chimpanzees in the jungle, and the alpha male comes and wants to fight one of them, right? And the one that's being challenged knows that they're gonna lose, right? They kind of stand up, they kind of scream at each other for a bit, right? But then they realize, the non-alpha male realizes, I'm going down. So what does he do? He turns around and starts grooming himself. He turns around and just plays like if this whole situation did not happen. And that's what it is. It's called displacement activity, okay? And so what I want to share with you and what I want to teach you today is that when the displacement activity comes up, I don't want you to yell at yourself. I don't want you to get down on yourself. I want you to embrace it. I want you to say, hey, look, there's the displacement activity trying to get me to wash the dishes, to do anything but I have to do in this time that I've allocated for pursuing my passion. So you know what? Accept it, embrace it, love it, know when it happens so that you can recognize it later, and then just move on through it, all right? Don't add to the people that are there to dump on you. I'm sharing this with you because I've been doing the online entrepreneur for a couple years now, and in the beginning I was completely invisible. Nobody knew anything about me, but once I started doing videos, once I started getting a little bit more out there, now I started attracting leaders, not even customers. I did the jump from like, here's me, here's a customer, but then here's the leader. You know what I mean? But I also started attracting leaders that would call me out. They'd sit there and they'd be like, you're lazy, you're a procrastinator, you're this and that. And that type of diatribe, that type of attacks on me, it just shuts me down, right? That just doesn't work with me. When someone says to me, you're never going to do it, there's a part of my brain that says, you know what, I'm going to prove you right, and I will never do it. You know what I mean? And I'm working on that. Right? And part of this is me working on that, because when these leaders would come and tell me, you're lazy, you don't care, you don't commit, I never see you commit, blah, 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 right? I'd sit there and I'd shut down. Now I'm just like, no, in fact, I am committing and I'm doing this and this is what I'm going to do. And if you're not on board, well, then have a great day. Good for you. Back in the day, I'd get all offensive and I'd lash out at them and I'd say, you know what, why are you treating me like, why are you acting like a girlfriend? Why are you getting all possessive, right? That doesn't lead to anything. Okay, so, and I want you to have that same type of dialogue with your procrastination, with that little genius inside of you. I want to, when you sit down, when you have the time to work on whatever it is that you want to work, or whatever it is that you want to create, and when the displacement activity starts to creep in, I want you to be like, hey, I want you to say hi to it like a long-lost friend, feed it with a long spoon, and send it on its way, right? And keep doing what you're going to do. All right, so hey, recognize that procrastinator inside of you, embrace that procrastinator inside of you, because it's your genius. Because in fact, if it wasn't important, whatever we're talking about, if the task, your creative task, what you want to do wasn't important, then you wouldn't be hard on yourself. You wouldn't sit here and be like, oh, I should be doing this or that. So actually, the procrastinator inside of you is your champion. It's fighting for you. It's scrawling. It's trying to find a spot for your ideas. Don't neglect it, okay? All right, so as always, keep growing, keep sharing, keep loving. I love you all. Have a great weekend. Be safe. It's 4th of July here in the States. I mean, I know the rest of the world could care less, all right? But care some more about yourselves and everyone. And at the same time, keep getting it done because that's what it's all about. All right, love you all. Bye.